The wind screamed through the broken rocks of the wasteland. Cold snow from a dark purple sky. There were no lights, no signs of life, only silence and death. But in the corner of a half-collapsed shelter, an alien mother held her small child close to her chest. Her skin, once glowing silver, had turned pale and blue. Her long arms trembled. She was almost bare. Only a small cloth covered the baby. Her name was Zarali. And she was all her child had left. She looked at the tiny boy in her arms. He was crying softly, his body shaking from the cold. She had no food, no shelter, no help, but she had one thing left. Her clothes. Zarali closed her eyes. Her body shook from the freezing air. She took off the last piece of warm cloth wrapped around her shoulders. Her fingers were numb, but she moved slowly. Carefully, she found some broken wood and dry plants in a corner, just enough for a small fire. Her hands, now nearly frozen, worked fast. She struck 2 pieces of rock together, again and again. Finally, a spark, then a small flame. She placed the cloth in the fire. It caught quickly. The fire grew, warmth, just a little. Enough for her child. She pulled her baby close to the flame and wrapped him with her long arms. Her body took the cold. Her child got the warmth. She smiled, even though her lips were cracking. "Sleep, little one," she whispered. "Mama's here. Mama will keep you safe." The fire lit up her face, showing eyes full of pain but also love. She was shaking badly now, but she didn't move. She kept her baby close to the fire. The baby stopped crying. He stared at the flames with wide eyes and then fell asleep. His breathing slowed, peaceful at last. But Zarali's eyes started to close too, not from peace, but weakness. Her body couldn't take the cold anymore. Her legs had no feeling. Her skin had gone numb. Still, she smiled. She leaned back against the wall, holding her child like a shield. "I don't need to survive," she whispered. "Only he does." Outside, the storm grew stronger. Miles away, a human soldier walked through the snowy hills. His name was Corwin. He had been sent on a search mission by the Coalition Patrol, looking for energy signals from any broken ships or lost tech. He didn't expect to find anyone alive, but then he heard something. A strange sound. At first, he thought it was the wind, but then he heard it again. A faint cry, a soft voice. He raised his scanner, a weak heat signal. Just 1, maybe 2. It was fading fast. He moved quickly, boots crunching through the snow. He followed the signal until he found a broken shelter buried under debris. Something had crashed here long ago. Corwin stepped inside. His flashlight scanned the area, and then he froze. There in the dim orange glow of dying fire was a strange alien woman, naked, shivering, leaning against a wall. In her arms was a tiny child, still wrapped in ash-covered cloth. Her eyes were closed. Was she still alive? Corwin stepped closer. The woman's lips moved. "Barely. Help, my child," she whispered. Then her head dropped forward. Corwin dropped to his knees. He quickly checked her pulse. Weak, but there. He looked at the baby still breathing. Alive. Without thinking, he pulled off his thick winter coat and wrapped it around them both. The alien mother flinched but didn't open her eyes. "Easy. I got you," Corwin said softly. The fire had almost died. He added fuel from his own emergency pack. It roared back to life. He took out a small heater cube from his bag and placed it beside them. He held the baby's tiny hand, cold, but warm enough to survive. Who were they? What happened here? Why were they abandoned? He looked around. No food, no supplies. Nothing but broken walls and frozen air. This mother. She burned her own clothes just to keep the child alive. Corwin looked down at her again. She looked like she hadn't eaten in days. She looked like she was ready to die, but she didn't, because she had to protect her child. Corwin's heart tightened in his chest. I'm not leaving you, he whispered. Snow kept falling, like tiny knives from the sky. The alien mother, Zirali, didn't open her eyes, but her arms, thin and trembling, never let go of her baby. The fire was almost gone, the heat fading fast, and her silver skin now looked gray, like stone. Then warmth. Suddenly, something heavy and soft was wrapped around her shoulders. A coat, thick, human-made, full of heat. Zirali flinched. She didn't understand. Was it a dream, or was it a trick? She forced her eyes open, blinking at the bright face of a creature. Not one of her own, a human. Tall, covered in gear. A strange light shining from his shoulder, but his face wasn't cruel. It was full of concern. His voice was low, gentle. You're freezing. You'll die out here, let me help. Zirali tried to speak, but her throat was dry, her body was too weak. She could only shake her head, but her baby let out a tiny sound, just a little cry, and the human leaned in quickly. He placed a heat cube closer to them. He opened a small packet of soft food paste and gently brought it near her lips. She turned away, weak with fear. Was this a trap? But then, her child reached out. His tiny fingers touched the man's glove, and instead of pulling back in fear, the human smiled. His name was Corwin, and he hadn't seen anything this heartbreaking in all his years. As a soldier, he had been trained to fight wars, to hunt enemies, to survive harsh lands. But nothing had prepared him for the sight of a mother burning her own clothes to save her child. She had no weapons, no allies, just love and a will, stronger than steel. Corwin knelt beside her. He spoke slowly, clearly. You're safe now, I won't hurt you. I promise. The baby made another soft noise and reached again. This time, Corwin took off his glove and offered his warm, bare hand. The tiny alien hand grabbed his finger. Zirali saw it, and something changed in her eyes. She didn't speak, but she stopped shaking, not because of the heat, but because for the first time, she didn't feel alone. Corwin stayed with them through the night. He placed more heat cubes around the shelter. He used his own rations to make warm drink for the mother. She sipped slowly, as if each drop was a treasure. She still didn't trust him. Not fully, but she didn't resist anymore. She allowed the warmth. She allowed the help. Outside, the storm got worse. The sky roared. The wind howled, but inside that ruined shelter, there was something soft, something quiet, a beginning. Just before dawn, Corwin stepped outside to scan for better shelter. His radio buzzed. A voice came through. Unit 09, respond. Are you still in Zone B? You're late, he answered quickly. I found something, or rather, someone. Leave them. HQ says that region is cleared. Nothing valuable, no tech, no survivors worth retrieving. Corwin looked back inside the shelter, at the mother, holding her child, now sleeping peacefully in his coat. His jaw clenched. They're not tech, but they're alive. That's enough for me. He turned off the radio. Just as he was about to re-enter, a sound echoed through the snow. Crunch, crunch, footsteps. Not his own. Corwin froze. He wasn't alone. He quickly drew his blaster. Eyes scanning the snowy fog. A shadow moved, then a voice. Cold and sharp. You there, step aside. That female is marked for removal. A beam of red light cut through the snow. Corwin turned fast, his blaster raised. Several tall figures stepped out from the white fog. Alien enforcers, armor dark, eyes colder than the storm. Their leader raised his hand. Step back, human. That female is registered as abandoned, the child too. They are not your responsibility. Zirali opened her eyes slowly. She heard the voices. Her grip on her child tightened. Her body still weak, but her instincts were loud now. They were here for her child. She'd seen these soldiers before. She knew what they did to the weak, especially the children. She tried to sit up, Her body screamed in pain. Still, she shielded her son with her arms. No, please, don't take him. The lead enforcer didn't even glance at her. He looked only at Corwin. This case was closed days ago. The mother is no longer fit. The child will be transferred to colony care. She will be processed. Corwin's eyes narrowed. He didn't move. You think you can just walk in and rip a baby from his mother? After all she's done to keep him alive? The enforcer tilted his head. You are interfering with a planetary protocol, human. Stand down. Zerali's heart pounded, not from fear, but from something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. This human was standing up for her. No one had ever done that. She reached out, touched his coat, whispered, "Don't fight them. You'll be punished." Corwin glanced at her, then back at the enforcers. "Punish me then, but you're not taking the child." There was silence. The storm outside howled louder. One of the enforcers raised his weapon, but Corwin didn't flinch. He stepped in front of the mother and child, planting his feet in the snow. "He's just a baby," Corwin said. "She gave up everything for him, and now you want to tear them apart? Over what? Your protocol?" The officer sighed. "This is not personal. It is survival of the system. Weak bloodlines end. Strong ones rise." Corwin's voice grew sharp. "Then maybe your system's broken." Tension thickened in the air. The baby cried softly. Zerali held him tighter, her body still trembling from cold and fear. Corwin kept his blaster low but ready. He had no plan, only one truth in his heart. He wouldn't let them take the boy, not after what he saw, not after what she had survived. Then, without warning, the enforcers turned. Their leader gave one last look. "We'll report this breach. Your name will be noted, human. You've made yourself part of her record now." They vanished into the snow, just as quickly as they came. Corwin waited. Blaster raised. Muscles tense. Then silence. He finally exhaled. Zerali stared at him, her lips trembling. "You could have left us." Corwin looked at the child in her arms. "Yeah, but I didn't." He knelt beside her again and gently touched the baby's head. "He's warm now, and he's still with you." Zerali's eyes filled with tears. Why help someone like me?" Corwin gave her a tired smile. "Because someone should have helped you a long time ago." But just as they felt a moment of safety, a new sound broke the peace. A soft beep. Then another. Corwin checked his gear. His motion scanner flashed red. "No," he muttered. "They placed a tracker." Asterisk. The snow behind them exploded. Not from bombs. But from footsteps. Heavy. Fast. Many. Corwin didn't look back. He just grabbed Zerali's freezing hand and ran. She stumbled, holding her baby close to her chest, barefoot and barely able to walk. But she ran because the human was running for them, and no one had ever done that before. They slipped between ruins, over frozen hills, through narrow paths that cracked under their weight. Zerali's feet bled. Her breath came in gasps. Her child whimpered softly in her arms. "I'm slowing you down," she cried out, falling to her knees. Corwin stopped instantly. He rushed back and lifted her in his arms, light as a feather from hunger and cold. "You're not slowing me down," he said, breathing hard. "You're the reason I'm still going." Behind them, a scout drone whirred through the air, searching. One false step, one loud breath, and they'd be seen. Corwin carried her to an old cave carved into the hillside, just wide enough for two. He scanned the area. No signals, no movement. He placed Zerali down gently and activated a sound-masking field. Then he collapsed against the wall, panting, shivering, but smiling. "We made it, for now." Zerali looked at him. His face was scratched, his coat torn. And yet, he had used all his strength to save an alien mother and her child. "Why would you do this?" she asked in a weak voice. He looked up at her, and for the first time, he didn't answer like a soldier. Because I saw a mother burning her own clothes just to keep her baby alive. That's not weakness, Zarali. That's the strongest thing I've ever seen, the baby coughed. The sound was dry and sharp. Zarali's heart stopped for a second. He's burning up, she whispered. Something's wrong. He's too warm. Corwin moved fast. He checked the baby's forehead. Hot. Too hot. He's got a fever, he said. And we're out of med packs. Zarali panicked. He'll die, won't he? After all this, he'll still. No, Corwin said firmly. I know where to go. It's far, but there's an old research station north of here. It might have something. You'll freeze. I'll walk faster. He picked up his scanner, his weapon, and his breath. Stay here. I'll be back before the moon rises. Zarali reached out and grabbed his wrist. I don't trust humans, she said softly, but I trust you. Corwin paused. He looked at her hand so cold and small. Then at her face. No longer scared, just tired but hopeful. He nodded. Then keep the fire alive. I'll bring the cure. As he disappeared into the snow, Zarali held her baby close. She didn't cry this time. She didn't beg the stars, because for the first time, she believed someone would come back. But just as she started to rest, the baby's breathing turned rough. And far above, the sky rumbled again. They weren't safe yet. The fire was dying again, and this time, so was the child. Zarali pressed her ear to her baby's chest. The heartbeat, once soft and strong, was now slow and uneven. His skin, once warm from the human's coat, now burned with fever. She kissed his forehead, but it was too hot. Too hot. No, not now, she whispered. Not after we came so far. The baby's breathing turned shallow. Zarali shook him gently. He didn't open his eyes. Please, little one, stay with me. Just a little longer. The human is coming back. She looked out at the snow-covered hills, but there was no sign of him, only white silence and cold wind. Far away, Corwin ran like he'd never run before. His legs ached. His lungs burned, but he didn't stop. Snow whipped across his face. His hands had lost feeling, but his mind kept repeating one thing. Don't let the baby die. Don't let the baby die. Every step forward was like lifting a mountain, but he kept going, because he had seen the way the mother looked at her child. And he knew what losing him would do to her. At last, the station came into view, an old research outpost buried in snow. Half of it was collapsed. The antenna twisted and broken. Corwin kicked the door and it creaked open with a painful groan. Dust. Silence. Cold. But machines still blinked. Emergency power still active. He rushed inside, searching shelves, cracking open storage units. Empty. Useless. Old data pads. Broken vials. Until one small box. Locked. Emergency medical xeno-compatible. He smashed the lock. Inside 3 vials. One still full. His hands shook as he scanned the label. Infant fever suppressant. Type 3 bioforms. It matched. Please work, he whispered. But outside the outpost, he wasn't alone. A drone hovered silently, watching, then turned and flew back toward the mother. In the cave, Zarali was losing hope. Her baby didn't move. His lips had turned pale blue. She cried quietly, rocking him, whispering old lullabies from her world. Don't sleep yet. He'll come. I believe. Him, I believe. And then boots, footsteps. She looked up, her body frozen. Corwin? The human staggered into the cave, half covered in ice, but smiling like he'd won a war. He fell to his knees and opened the vial. We're not done yet, little guy. He injected the medicine into the baby's small arm. Then they waited. 1 second. 2-5. The baby didn't move. Zarali's hand covered her mouth. No, please. Then a cough, a breath, then another. The baby let out a weak cry. Zarali gasped, holding him close. He's breathing. He's breathing. Corwin collapsed beside her, smiling through pain. Told you I'd come back. But outside the cave, something landed. Not a drone, a ship, a team had arrived. And they weren't there to help. The baby was asleep. His tiny chest rose and fell, calm and steady. Zarali didn't move. She just stared at him, afraid the peace would vanish if she blinked. Then her eyes shifted to the man beside her. Corwin. The human. His arm was cut, his face scratched. He had ice on his hair and blood on his sleeve. And yet he was smiling. Exhausted, but proud. He leaned back against the cold wall of the cave and closed his eyes. He's safe now, he said softly. Told you I'd keep my promise. Zarali watched him closely. No one had ever spoken to her like that before. No one had ever meant it. She slowly reached out, took a strip of cloth from the coat he had given her, and gently wrapped it around his bleeding arm. He opened one eye and looked at her, surprised. You don't have to. You didn't have to save us, she whispered back. But you did. She touched the cut on his cheek. Her hand was soft, trembling. But not from fear this time. Then, without warning, she smiled, a real smile. It was small, barely there. But it reached her eyes, the kind of smile that hadn't lived on her face in years. Corwin blinked. Was that your first smile? In a very long time, she replied. I forgot what it felt like. For a moment, the cave didn't feel cold. For a moment, it didn't matter that they were hunted, unwanted, or alone. There was something stronger in the air than fear. Connection. But outside, snow began to shift again. Something heavy landed near the cave. A large boot crunched ice. Then another. Inside. Corwin's scanner beeped softly. He sat up, eyes narrowing. We're not alone. Zarali pulled the baby closer. I thought you said the signal was gone. It was, Corwin said, loading his weapon. But someone just found us again. He looked at her. If anything happens to me, take the baby and run. Don't stop. No, she said firmly, gripping his arm. We don't run without you. Corwin gave her a sharp look, then slowly nodded. Then we stand together. Outside, shadows moved near the entrance. An engine hummed low, almost like a growl, and then a voice. Come. Out, human. We don't want to kill the child. Just you. Corwin's hand tightened on his blaster. Zarali's grip tightened on his coat. The child, still asleep, let out a small breath. They were cornered, but this time they had something they didn't before, hope and each other. The cave door shook. Snow spilled from the top as something heavy slammed against it. Zarali stood with her child in her arms, back pressed to the far wall. Corwin stepped forward, between her and the danger blaster drawn, jaw clenched. Outside, a voice roared through the frozen air. Step aside, human. The female belongs to us. Another slam. She is a classified waste unit. Her child is unauthorized. You have no right to protect either. Corwin didn't answer. He stared at the entrance, where a shadow moved closer. He had no backup, no escape route, no reinforcements. Only one weapon and one choice. The cave door cracked. Metallic hand pushed through the snow-blocked opening. Zarali gasped. She covered her child with her body. They'll take me again, she whispered. They'll take him. Corwin turned and looked her straight in the eyes. Not this time. He stepped forward. Through the wind, through the cold, right into the snowstorm where a dozen armored enforcers waited. Their leader pointed a plasma lance at him. Final warning, human, step aside. Corwin slowly raised his weapon. His voice was calm, but full of steel. You call her trash, a unit, a number. But I saw a mother burn her own body to keep her child alive. You want to know what I saw? He pointed to Zarali behind him. I saw a hero. Silence. The wind howled. Zarali's eyes widened. her heart pounding in her chest. No one had ever said that about her. Not once. The leader barked back. This is your final chance, move, or be erased. Corwin didn't blink. He raised his blaster fully. No, one word. Loud, clear, final. The tension snapped. Weapons raised. A standoff under the frozen sky. Then, sound from behind the enforcers. A new ship, sleek, black, marked with a human banner. Coalition. Corwin's emergency beacon had been silent, but someone had answered anyway. More soldiers poured out, human soldiers, and surrounded the enforcers. Stand down, their captain said. We received the signal. We've reviewed the logs. That mother and child are now under Coalition protection. The alien leader growled. She's worthless. Not to us, the captain replied. Not to him. He nodded toward Corwin. The enforcers hesitated, then retreated into the snow without a word. Zarali stood frozen, eyes full of disbelief. Corwin turned back, walked to her slowly, and dropped to one knee. It's over. She looked down at her baby, then at him, then, tears falling silently, she whispered, You gave me everything. He shook his head. You already had everything. You just needed someone to see it. As the sun rose over the icy land for the first time in days, 3 figures stood at the cliffside. A human soldier, an alien mother, and a child who had survived the coldest night. Because love was stronger than rules, because hope was louder than silence, and because one human said no.